Okay, this next hunt you're going to watch is kind of a mess. It goes back to us not having a lot of experience filming and me not having a cameraman. This hunt took place in Howard County in Iowa. It's on my father-in-law's farm, and the field that we're hunting is actually an L-shaped field with a cow pasture making up the inside corner of it. It was corn this year, and I've got 4 stands on this field. I've got one on the southeast end of it, one on the southwest end of it, one right in the corner on the fence line going through the field, and then I've got the other one is, well, it'd be clear down on the northeast corner of it. But November 2nd, I went out there and I was sitting in the stand on the inside corner, and I saw 2 shooter bucks that night. One was going from, you come out of the south end of the field, cut across the field, and went up along the west edge of it going north. And I grunted at him, no luck. You know, he was 200 yards away. And then right before dark, I had another buck come down. He come within probably 30, 40 yards of the stand, but it was so dark I couldn't range him. I couldn't even really tell what he was, and I ended up letting him walk. So then, that would have been the evening of the 2nd. I did hunt that field the evening of the 3rd, and then the 4th I went out there also in the evening, and I sat in the stand on the southwest corner of this field. And I saw the same buck that I'd saw the night before, the first one, come out in the exact same spot, cut across the field, went north along the west edge there. And this stand that I was sitting at that night was 30 yards into the woods. I grunted at him, couldn't get him to come in. I did see, I think you'll see on the footage that I did grunt 2 other smaller bucks in that night, but that big one wouldn't come in. And then right before dark, I had another big buck come out, same spot as the last one had, come out on kind of the southeast corner of the field there, cut across the corner of it, and went north along that west edge. So the following night, which would have been the 5th, I went out there and I sat in the stand in the southeast corner. I thought, well, this is going to be great. These bucks are going to come right underneath me. Well, the only thing that come under me was with a little 6-pointer. And right before dark, this buck come out. He was one of the bucks that I'd seen the night before. He come out between the 2 stands on the south end there, cut across the corner of the field, went along the west edge, heading north. So then on the 6th, I took my wife out there, and the stand that's in the inside corner of this L-shaped field is actually her stand. It's set up for her. It's got a climbing stick on it because she's 3-step illiterate. So we're sitting in that stand, and we saw, what, 5 shooter bucks that night. Saw just a really, really nice 10 with matched split 2s. We saw the buck that I ended up killing on the field on the 7th. We saw 2 other big 8s, and I think the other one was a 10 if I remember correctly. And all of them were coming out on that south end of the field, right in the middle of the field, cutting across the corner of it, and then hitting that west edge and going north. And finally, 45 minutes before dark, the spike buck come out. He come in through the pasture, come right down into the corner, and I gave her the green light. I said, go ahead and shoot him. You know, you got to understand, she's only shot 1 other deer in her life. There's about 1 other buck in her life. So she sticks this deer, and her angle on it and my angle on it were quite a bit different. When she shoots this deer, she actually, you'll see in the footage that she hits him quite a ways back, right in front of the hind leg actually. But she had this tracer knock on there, and that tracer knock lit up, and from my angle, all I could see was that red knock, and it's right behind the front shoulder, and I'm going, great shot, babe. You know, you smoked him. I thought she shot him right behind the shoulder, and I didn't realize until I went back and watched the footage that, oh, you know, she shot him. Was a little less than a great shot.
Anyway, I shot this spike buck, and I was very excited, so you can probably see on the footage, but I did not make the perfect shot. I'll admit that.
And it happens, you know. Yeah. I've shot deer that I haven't recovered. I've shot deer that were hit poorly that I did get lucky and recover. I think anybody that bow hunts, for the most part, you know, can say that they have made a less than ideal shot on the deer.
It was getting dark when we finally did get down out of the stand, and we pinpointed where we had shot it, and we found just a little bit of blood, nothing too great, so we decided to back out and we'd check again the next morning. When we went back out there, we kind of pinpointed to where he had cut across the cow pasture and up into the woods. And we did find some blood, and we trailed him for quite a while, but we ended up having to back out as much as I wanted to keep looking, we had to back out, and because there just wasn't enough blood to follow, and we ended up losing them. So we did back out, and Casey went out hunting and stuff, but a couple days later, we did end up finding him, basically just because of we followed the birds. I mean, the weather was too warm for the meat anymore, and by the time we did get to them, the coyotes had already got to my deer, but we did recover them.
But it just wasn't something that you'd film and put on a DVD for
Right.
people to watch. I mean, there was nothing left of it. That farm was crawling with coyotes. I mean, I've shot deer out there that I've left overnight that there's nothing left of them the next morning when you find them.
But we did recover them. There was no meat left on them, but I did get my deer.
But right after she shoots this deer, we have this nice white 8-pointer with broken off brow tines come out into the field behind us, and I start grunting at him. He comes right in. I have my bow. And so I grab my bow, hand her the camera. This buck comes in. He's not 15 yards away. And I don't know if he's seen you or he's seen me or what happened, but he's just all of a sudden he blew out of there and I couldn't get him stopped. So he ran off, and that pretty much, you know, by then it was pretty dark, and we climbed down, went out in the pasture there where she'd shot her buck, and really couldn't find any blood or anything. So I'd come to the conclusion that we needed to get a stand moved onto the west edge of that field anyway, where them bucks had been traveling. So we went out early the next morning. Blood trail herd deer, we got out there probably 8 in the morning. Blood trail herd deer until noon. We probably followed him 200 yards. We had good blood sometimes, bad blood sometimes, no blood sometimes. And we finally just decided, you know, it was 60-some degrees that day, and we figured, well, he's jumped by now anyway, being hit in the paunch like that and laying overnight and as warm as it was. We figured it wasn't even an option of recovering the meat anymore. So we ended up backing out. We went and we moved the stand that I had in the southwest corner of the field farther up along the west edge of the field there, going towards the north where all these bucks had been walking. And the deal that night was I was supposed to have a cameraman, but somebody got mad at me because we quit looking for deer and left, so I didn't have a cameraman that night. And I wish I'd had a cameraman, because this hunt was just, you know, the poster boy for a bad night. You know, that everything that could go wrong that night went wrong. I forgot half my stuff. I must have made 4 trips back and forth across the river getting stuff that I forgot. Get to the tree, start climbing up. Somehow managed to break my glasses, and I can't see a thing without my glasses. So I climbed back down and I found the lens, and I couldn't find the screw to put them back together, and I didn't have anything to put them back together with, and I thought, well, I'm either going to go home or I'm going to fix these glasses. So I tore a strap off my backpack and tied my glasses together with my backpack. I look like a freaking moron. But get up in the stand. I'm not up there 15 minutes. Here comes this buck right out of the south end of the field, cuts across the corner, and starts coming right down the field edge to me. I thought, oh, yeah, here we go, you know, done deal. I turned the camera, get it on the field edge to where, you know, he was going to come down in front of the stand, and all of a sudden he disappears. And I sat there and sat there and sat there, and he never showed up. I thought, well, I don't know what happened. So I hung my bow back up, shut the camera off, and I grunted a couple times. Well, all of a sudden here he comes through the woods behind me. He cut into the woods before he got to me. And it turned out there was a hot doe in that woods, because after I killed him and walked up to him, this doe was just wandering around there. She walked 15 feet from me. But when I grunted, he started walking up to me, and he was coming on the wrong side of the tree. I had the camera arm set up on the other side of the tree, and there wasn't an option to get the camera turned around to where I could shoot him. So I turned the camera behind the tree and was going to wait until he come behind the stand and then shoot him. But when I moved the camera, he spotted me. And it was one of them deals where it was now or never. I had to shoot him or I had to let him walk in. I was having a pretty tough season. I'd already passed up some bucks because I couldn't get them on film. And I thought, you know what, it's time to get this done, time to get a tag filled. I stuck him deer on 50 yards, fell over dead. And he ended up being just a really nice 9-pointer, really heavy deer, 6-inch bases, 23-inch beams, but he's short tine, he's 134 inches. So, like I said, you know, something you just need to keep in mind when you watch this hunt. It's a little confusing. You know, there's a shot, no recovery, and a recovery but no shot. But, you know, that's kind of the background of that hunt anyway.